Why did Taehyung cry alone in the dormitory after lights out? What exactly did Jungkook write in that letter that made him feel seen without even saying a word? And why did no one, not even their closest fans, see this silent exchange coming until now? The moment that brought two of BTS's strongest hearts closer is not just emotional, it's unforgettable. What started as exhaustion led to gratitude, and what was once silence became a thank you message no one expected. But the most surprising part? This may just be the letter that brought Taehyung back to himself. When news broke from the heart of the Korean military base, fans weren't expecting it to involve a letter. One small letter that carried the weight of brotherhood, emotional survival, and silent understanding. The world knew Kim Taehyung, known to millions as BTS's V, was in the midst of rigorous military training. What they didn't know was just how close he had come to emotional exhaustion, and how a quiet, unseen gesture from Jungkook pulled him back from the brink. The question that echoed through the fandom and media alike was simple but chilling. What had Jungkook written that made Taehyung cry? Not from pain, but from release. In a world dominated by social media, where every emotion is instantly shared, the silence between Taehyung and Jungkook during their military enlistment seemed unremarkable. Until it wasn't. Fans noticed the smallest change first. A slight softness in Taehyung's tone during a brief message. A pause in his eyes during a routine video check-in. Something was different. Something was hidden. And now we know why. The letter that was never meant to be public, according to multiple insider sources and military acquaintances, the letter was not written with the intention of ever being shared. It was a private moment, one friend reaching out to another during one of the loneliest phases of their lives. Taehyung, though admired for his strength and stoic resolve, had faced what many soldiers experience but few admit. The quiet crumbling of spirit after weeks of physical exhaustion, mental strain, and distance from the familiar comforts of home and friendship. What's more shocking is that Taehyung never told Jungkook he was struggling. The two had not been stationed together, and their communication was limited. There were no calls, no cries for help, only silence. And yet, somehow, Jungkook knew. The letter arrived one late evening, just as lights were about to go out in the barracks, folded neatly in an envelope that simply said, "Hungegea to my Hyung." It was slipped into Taehyung's personal locker without ceremony or attention. Could have been missed, but it wasn't. And what Taehyung read inside, he later said, felt like he was reading my heart before I had the strength to speak it. Taehyung's breaking point, and the day he almost gave in. While the military enforces silence and resilience, even the strongest soldiers reach a point where the weight becomes unbearable. For Taehyung, that day had come after a series of back-to-back drills under heavy rain, a grueling schedule that allowed little rest, and an injury scare that, though minor, rattled his already frayed nerves. No one knew that he had spent one night lying awake, fighting back tears he hadn't shed in years. He didn't write to anyone. He didn't complain. But internally, he admits he felt like disappearing. "I wasn't going to quit," he said during a private conversation later leaked online through fan pages. "But I stopped caring. That was worse. I didn't feel like myself anymore." What no one could have predicted is that, on that very day, a letter was already making its way to him. Sent by Jungkook 2 days earlier. Handwritten on standard-issue military paper. It wasn't long. It wasn't poetic. But it was real. And it began with 4 words that undid him. "I know you're tired." One particularly emotional line, shared through a teary voice note by a fellow recruit who witnessed Taehyung's reaction, read, "You were always there when I was breaking. Let me be there for you now, even in a letter." That was the sentence that broke Taehyung. According to those close to him, he sat quietly in his bunk after reading it, not speaking for several minutes. And then, without warning, he wept, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming feeling of being understood in a place where most feel invisible. It wasn't about comfort, Taehyung reportedly told a close friend afterward. It was about recognition. He saw me when I didn't even recognize myself. The thank you that took weeks to arrive, true to his introspective nature. Taehyung didn't respond immediately. Even though the letter gave him strength, he kept the emotions tightly held for weeks. But something changed in him. Fellow recruits noticed his renewed energy. He started humming again during morning runs. He smiled more. And slowly, the quiet weight that had nearly crushed him began to lift. Then, just last week, came the surprise moment that stunned fans and military staff alike. During a scheduled break when Taehyung was allowed limited access to send messages to close family and friends, he used the moment to do something he hadn't done publicly since enlistment. He mentioned Jungkook directly, personally, and with unmistakable warmth. "I'm thankful to the one who reminded me of who I was when I forgot," he wrote in a message released through official BTSMilitaryService. "JK, your words came like light in a tunnel I didn't know I was in. Thank you." Fans were floored. No one knew that Jungkook had written. No one expected a thank you this heartfelt, this raw, this vulnerable. But perhaps what's most telling is what Taehyung added at the end, a line that has since gone viral. "Even in silence, you knew. Even when I didn't ask, you answered." Fan reactions. "This is more than friendship. This is soul-level bonding." Armies across the globe flooded social media platforms with emotional tributes. The hashtags #TaehyungThanksJungkook and #LetterOfLight trended within hours. Countless fans admitted to crying after reading Taehyung's message, especially those who have faced silent struggles of their own. One popular fan account tweeted, "It's not just about a letter. It's about being seen. And in a world that moves too fast, that's the greatest gift you can give someone." Others shared their own stories of friendship, of how someone noticed their struggle before they spoke up, echoing the emotional impact Jungkook's letter had on Taehyung. What this moment reveals about BTS, and about Jungkook and Taehyung's bond. There have been many legendary BTS moments, awards, records, performances that stunned the world, but some of the most unforgettable ones have come not from the stage, but from their hearts. This quiet moment between Taehyung and Jungkook isn't just a sweet military anecdote. It's a reminder that behind their global fame are two young men who have walked side by side for over a decade, who have seen each other cry backstage, fall asleep on practice room floors, celebrate birthdays in empty hotels, who have fought, laughed, and grown together in the public eye, and now, who write letters that save each other. In a recent update, Taehyung reportedly placed Jungkook's letter in the small box of personal belongings he'll carry throughout his service, a quiet but powerful sign of its importance. "Some things you don't forget," he said. "This letter is one of them. Looking forward." Will Taehyung write back? Though no official reply from Taehyung has been shared beyond the thank you message, fans are hopeful. Some believe he may already have written his own letter in return, something just as heartfelt, waiting for the right moment. One thing is certain, the bond between them has been quietly but deeply renewed. "People think strength is being unshaken," Taehyung once said in an older interview. "But sometimes the bravest thing is breaking just enough to heal." And thanks to one letter, written in silence but delivered with heart, that healing has already begun.